Hey guys, B8KD here. Today I'm going to be messing around with the Hound II with a bunch of just random builds. I know you guys all have your own opinions on builds, but I'm just going to try to slot random things on here and see what we can get this thing to do. This is on the test server, so this ship is subject to change before it releases. I'm hoping it's in its finalized product so we can fully test this baby out. So the cool thing about the Hound II, you see it has a negative 99% to large torpedo power grid. Has about the same other stuff, cloaking device, reactivation, and lock delay removal. The large torpedo and missiles gain additional explosive, EM, and flight velocity per large missile torpedo upgrade bonus. If we go down a little bit, this is a expert level skill, expert frigate command bonus, 5% velocity per level. On the test server, I'm completely maxed out, and not many people beat 555. The expert level skills take about a month, but some people could have that for that extra 5%. So you guys can look through all the other basic info there, but I'm going to skip through that. We're going to take a look at our large torpedoes here. These things look pretty juicy. You see the EM and explosive damage are just through the roof. It's kind of an odd split, I guess. It does EM and thermal kind of right in the middle there between a laser and a cannon, so I guess that's pretty good. If we scroll down here, these have an activation time of 12.6 seconds with one activation rig on there. The explosion radius is huge at 310 meters. The flight time is 7 seconds. Reload time 10 seconds. These have a range of 21 kilometers, which is pretty good. Usually you'll be a little bit closer in that, I'd imagine. But this is like a battleship destroyer in terms. These torpedoes aren't going to apply damage very good to frigates unless they're target painted and webbed to complete crap. Even then, it might not even apply that much. Even going like 100 to 300 meters a second, I think it would still only apply about a quarter to half its damage. So, I am going to slot, I'm going to go over rigs in a second, explosion radius here, so it kind of blows up in a little bit tighter of a radius. Let's go ahead and open this back up. Since this has such a huge explosion radius, that rig knocks it off by quite a bit, about what is that, 40, 50 meters, which doesn't help too much, but this will definitely help apply the damage just a little bit better. Now for this random build, I have 3 Predator disruptors at a 30-kilometer range, so that'll be well within the 21 kilometers we need for the torpedoes. Of course, you always have your stealth device. You can do a afterburner or a micro warp drive just to kind of get set up quicker. It's just a C-type small micro warp drive. And I slotted a Mark V medium shield extender. This guy is going to increase the shield by quite a bit and have a 1.6K when popped or whatnot, 1.7K. Now in order to fit this, I did slot 2 power grid rigs, tier 3 on there with a inertia modifier. You don't really want to be moving around too fast while shooting these torpedoes. You don't want to lose your shot, I guess, if you're just right on the edge of where they can actually hit and do damage. Now, I also can slot a medium afterburner in this slot with those 2 power grid rigs. So we don't really care about just popping a shield extender outside the base, but I'm going to do that. So let's just leave the base really quick and check out how fast we can go. Alright, so with our C-type small micro warp drive going 3,400 meters a second. So I forgot to put on my 20% velocity rig. So let me pause this and we'll go crack that on there really quick. Let's turn on our afterburner, because the afterburner does require the power grid rigs. Now let's check out this. So the afterburner, we go 3,200 meters a second. So the micro warp drive is still quite a bit faster. That is only a Mark V medium afterburner. Might be able to get a Mark 7 on there, but I'm not going to mess around with that. Okay, let's take off our medium afterburner and build this kind of normally now. So I have the Tier 3 flight velocity, Tier 3 inertia modifier, and this spot is open to whatever you please. Typically I'd put a semiconductor memory cell in there, but really anything works. So I'm just going to pop the semiconductor in there for now. You can do another inertia, another afterburner percent, whatever you want, but good enough. For the other side here, we got damage, activation time, and of course the explosion radius bonus there, just to help apply damage. But what we can do as well, this ship is awesome because it has 3 mid slots from the Hound I. But we can pop either a C-type ballistic control system and our micro warp drive. This is just for jumping like ventures and retrievers and stuff. But then you can slot 3 Predator scrams on there, which I don't think Predator scrams are readily available, and they still probably won't be. So I'd imagine you'd only have 12 points, but if these come more readily available, you'll be sitting on a Hound with 15 warp jamming strength, but 12 in the realistic world there. So this is your jumping retriever build. Come out of a stealth with 2 of these, nobody's getting away. But for heaven's sake, I'm going to pop a target painter and a web on here. I think this is a fairly safe build. I'm going to take this into a anomaly and try it out. I'm going to do a C-type afterburner just to give me a little bit of speed tank. But typically you'd want to roll around with either a micro warp drive or whatnot just to get in place or get away quick enough. But we're going to go test this out really quick. Our cold DPS is 592 there, and once we pop our ballistic, we'll see how much DPS we can output. Alright, I'll be right back. Well, we are just warping into a T10 small Blood Raider anomaly. My fittings for this one, I have 2 target painters and a web. Looks like these spawn with 3 frigates and a battle cruiser. These have tracking disruptions, so that's just fine. Man, these things lock slow. Holy smokes. This is a maxed out Hound II and it locks that slow. So I'm going to target paint the Executioner. Let's see if we can even apply damage to this baby. $317 damage. so these do not work very well on small frigates. I'd imagine even destroyers or even cruisers, it's going to be applying just not that much damage, even with 2 target painters. So let's just pop our ballistic control. We went up to 759 DPS. Let's see if we can get in range of this Abaddon now. Okay. Pop both of these, slow down. Let's go ahead and launch a volley off. See how much we do to a battle cruiser. 5,200 damage. Oof. At 12.3 seconds a pop. 52. Let's launch one off without the ballistic on. 49, 5,000 damage. It's doing pretty good damage. These are fairly slow, but for anything large like that, it applies basically all of its damage. This thing's moving pretty quick. Almost 800 meters a second without an afterburner. Depending what you were going after to fight, you might not even need an afterburner micro warp drive. You could do 2 ballistic control systems and a stealth device even. But if we pop our small afterburner, we are going 1900 meters a second, which isn't bad. That's only with 1 auxiliary thruster and maxed out afterburner skills. So it doesn't seem like we're speed tanking the best. We aren't taking too many hits now. Let's check out this guy. So our signature radius is 22 meters. Yeah, so we should be speed tanking just fine. Pop that again. So our activation time is 9.77 seconds. So potentially, if you're just fighting large targets, you could do another activation time in place of the explosion radius or even more damage. 759 DPS on a stealthing Hound II is actually pretty nice. We are cap stable because of course we have nothing that drains our cap. But we are at 994 gigajoules with a tier 3 capacity multiplier. I imagine if you slotted that that shield extension device, it would probably just eat your entire capacitor alive, so it's probably not the best option. Alright, let's slot a couple other things back at the station and try it out one more time. Alright, so I've got the Hound built slightly differently now, just to see how much DPS we can get up to. I got 3 target painters, which aren't necessarily needed, but we're going to just turn this thing into like a 10 times battle cruiser. Got 2 ballistic controls, just to check out the max DPS. And I did, instead of an activation time, I just did an extra damage. Oops, I ran right into him. Let's orbit out and lock this guy down. Target paint him up. Okay, let's pop both of these really quick. We are at 1k DPS. Whew. Alright, let's see what kind of damage this baby does now. 5.5k. So it's not doing too much more alpha hits. We are at a 7.8 seconds activation time. Potentially it might be better to do, instead of the damage, an extra activation time there. You can get more hits off versus the alpha hits. I think that might be better. Okay, let's see without the ballistic on. 5.2k. Not bad at all. Let's go ahead and dock back here.
Warp drive active.
Now, just kind of a recap here. This is definitely a awesome covert op ship. I like how much damage the large torpedo launchers do, but it has its purpose. Definitely not for frigates or maybe not even for cruisers or destroyers, but it does some pretty beefy damage on the larger ships. I'm just not sure how many hits it could take from a larger ship just lobbing volleys off. So these are definitely good in giant packs. For my mid slots, what I would typically roll with, of course, 2 target painters are good, but if you're in a pack of hounds, you probably don't need 2. I do like the scram. You can always slot it with a predator disruptor. And this top slot is honestly for whatever you want. You can do 2 disruptors, 2 scrams. You can stick a web in here. It's pretty much just a hound with an extra slot to choose from. I was able to slot a C-type medium shield booster on here, but the cap drains, it says, in 15 seconds, so I don't think that's really feasible. Unless you got rid of your micro warp drive for a capacitor battery, that's definitely not worth it. And I don't think you're just going to be out ratting with people in this, but if you were, you could take your coverts ops off and put a cap battery in there. So there's lots of different variations to all this. You can do a small shield booster in there. Check our capacitor again. Yeah, 1 minute and 30 seconds, which is a lot better. You can do a shield extender, damage control unit here. There is a lot of different options. However you like to build your covert op ship, you can do. Now, what I'd probably slot instead of the damage control unit is, of course, the ballistic control system. Depending how many points of scram you have, you probably only need 1 scram or even just 1 disruptor in that slot, with plenty of power grid remaining. So just your fleet variations will depict that. You can even stick EWAR, like a tracking disruptor, something in that slot. This doesn't have the best capacitor in the world, so it will drain fairly quick. If we go into the market, we'll just see the other variations. They're all about the same. The Hound is the fastest out of all of them, just with that velocity bonus. Let's keep going here. And I said covert ops ship. It's actually a stealth bomber. I'm just tripping. But the Purifier 2, let's take a quick look. It's all about the same, but it has a faster scan resolution out of a stealth, which is good, so you can lock onto people a little bit quicker. These things lock slower than piss, so I'm not sure if the scan resolution is going to help much. The Nemesis down here has an inertia modifier, so it can get going faster and orbit a little bit better. So I don't think that's really the best fit either. And of course we got the Manticore on the top. This one has a negative signature radius bonus, so potentially rolling around with like an afterburner on that would make this thing extremely hard to hit. But you imagine 4, 8, 12, 20% signature radius minus the 22 it has, or whatever it is not that much at all. So you'd go from 22 to like 18 or something. Who knows the math, but it's not much at all. So the Hound, I think, is the best choice just because you got that extra 25% flight velocity there. But I hope I've given you guys some ideas on how you're going to build your hound, what kind of damage it can output, and the targets you are able to hit with it. Feel free to leave in the comments how you think it should be built and what you are going to build your hound like. Everybody loves reading the comments, and we can all kind of share our thoughts on it. And once these do come into the game, we will know exactly how to build our hound. But alright, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.